Hello there everybody, and welcome to this feature presentation on YouTube. I am King Mac, your hamburger pal. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to enjoy a hot fresh cheeseburger along with some delicious golden french fries, a tasty milkshake, and a nice soft drink. Also be sure to grab some hot buttery popcorn while you're at it as you enjoy this episode of TTBurger Game Reviews on YouTube.
Hello everybody! Welcome back to the TTBurger Game Show! I am your host, Tony, back with more TTBurger game reviews on Game Show Games. Episode 287 here, part 2 of 5 parts. Last time, we took a look at Jeopardy games starring the late Alex Trebek. And this time, we're going to move on to everyone's American favorite game, Wheel of Fortune! Which actually came before Jeopardy, so I messed up there. 3 games for this part. Three Wheel of Fortune games to look at. They're released on multiple consoles. Wheel of Fortune 2nd Edition, and Wheel of Fortune for the PlayStation 2. Same format as last time with this review. We're going to review all the games individually and give them individual ratings, and at the end, for the pros and cons chart, will be for all 3 of the games. We're going to start things off with the Wheel of Fortune game for the PlayStation released on December 15th, 1998. Okay, I'm not going to do that shouting voice forever. I'm sure people want to hear me talk in my normal voice there, so, okay. Good old Wheel of Fortune, watching it every Friday as a kid with family members and watching it with my grandparents and stuff, and seeing Pat Sajak and Vanna and the contestants try to win the game and more was definitely enjoyable for sure. My favorite part to this day was seeing the wheel get spun every time by the contestant. And playing the Wheel of Fortune game slot machine in Las Vegas when I turned 21 was a blast as well, but we need to get back on topic here. The premise of Wheel of Fortune was a simple one, and we all know what it was. Solve the puzzle on the screen, spin the wheel, guess the letters correctly, solve the puzzle, win the most money, go to the bonus round, win some cool prizes along the way, and more. Now Wheel of Fortune is a video game. Well, to be honest with you, it's actually better than Jeopardy and more fun. But it still has a lot of problems, and it's not going to get Game of the Year or anything like that. Problems that were in Jeopardy are here in Wheel of Fortune, which I can see why, because those issues came from Wheel of Fortune and transferred over to Jeopardy, so since I reviewed them out of order, I apologize there. As we get started, we have 2 modes of play. Normal game and solo game. We'll talk about the solo game later. Play normal game, we name ourselves, play with 3 players or 2 computer players. We start off with our host, Vanna. Yeah, I forgot to mention Pat Sajak is not here, which is a disappointment for fans of the show and fans of Pat Sajak. But at least we got Vanna. But anyway, getting back on topic here, we get to the game, we pick our stage, we want like Vegas or Paris, which is like the show your goals to win the game. You cannot create a character and you do not see any of the contestants during the game or so like that. And Wheel of Fortune, what makes it more fun than Jeopardy is it's less frustrating. Sure, it's somewhat frustrating when you guess the wrong letter and your opponents to be unstoppable and just keep guessing the letters right and stuff, not giving you a chance at all. All it takes is one mistake for this to happen. And when you win, all you get is an FMV of a prize you won that's obviously not real, like it's mocking you, and it's like, hey, you won this cool-ass trip to Las Vegas, or this cool-ass sailboat, and a prize package of $25,000, all yours now. But guess what? It's not real, because this is just a video game, you don't win anything, ha 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 ha, you motherfucker. And then Vanna talks to you, and then you can play again with different round settings, and there you go. For the round settings, like you can choose from like 15-minute game, 20-minute game, 30-minute game, or do rounds like 3, 4, or 5, which can add some replay value to it. The controls are simple, like you using the triangle button is basically your spin the wheel button, X is like you use selection, and square does the vowels and stuff, and if you hold down the triangle button longer, it determines on how fast you spin the wheel. And it makes it memorable with that sound there, with that blue. And the sound is great, it has all those memorable sounds like doo-doo, and like the wheel sound I mentioned. You got solo game, which you're the only contestant, you have unlimited tries to solve the puzzle and takes all the challenge out of the game. And I had fun with the multiplayer, playing with 2 other people, like playing with my friends or playing with my dad or something like that. You know, it added challenge and playing with my cousins too. Graphics are okay in Wheel of Fortune, the wheel looks good, and the board with the puzzles look detailed, and the FMVs with Val and White look good too. But that's all I can say about it. Sound is good, you have all the sound effects from the show, and they work here, and I guess the only bad part is that the computer contestants' voiceovers sound a little over the top with their reactions. But while I like Wheel of Fortune more than Jeopardy, it's just an okay average game due to the lack of content and the fact that there's unbalance in difficulty and everything. It's easier to play than Jeopardy, and it's getting a slightly higher score than Jeopardy. That's why Wheel of Fortune gets a 6 out of 10. It's passable as a game, but after you get through all those puzzles as well, you're gonna just be, okay, I'm done. And even if you did not even play much, you're just gonna be, okay, so I'm done. But next up, we're gonna look at the sequel here, Wheel of Fortune 2nd Edition, released on October 18th, 2000, which was 3 days before I turned 12 years old. And yeah, this is when the PlayStation 2 was on its way and everything. And let's get started here. Wheel of Fortune 2nd Edition. Like Jeopardy 2nd Edition, it's basically the same game with minor differences that feels more like an expansion than a sequel. With 2,500 new puzzles and tournament mode, which you need to win 5 games to play, this mode is harder questions and the contestant exam, which is worse than it was in Jeopardy. The exam here is you guess the puzzles. No hints at all. Get 15 out of 20 questions right. Puzzles, I mean to say. And even if you pass, doesn't matter, you get nothing in the end. There are some differences, like the X button spins the wheel this time, and it looks a little better in the graphics department. The FMV scenes with Vanna and White look great, but still the same song and dance as before. Tougher difficulty with the computer opponents being smarter than before. Sure, there are some tweaks in the sound too. Vanna White still does most of the talking since she's the host once again. No Pat Sajak again. And that's the sound for the second installment. Sure, there are some tweaks in the sound too, with Vanna White still does most of the talking since she's the host once again for the second installment. And the sound effects from the board and the wheel are still here. I guess there's nothing wrong with that in my opinion, but that's just me. Voice acting is still over the top from the contestants. In fact, they recycle the voiceovers from the first game and it shows. No Pat Sajak here once again. Just new puzzles. If you went through all of them in the first game, it feels more like an expansion for hardcore Wheel of Fortune fans who need more of their Wheel of Fortune fix and nothing more. Still cannot create a character once again. You have to see any of the contestants during gameplay still. And I have not much else to say here. It's a short and sweet review here because that's all there was to it. It was just basically the same thing, just second edition. I guess I had no choice but to give this game the same rating as before. This is the second installment, just add new added questions and nothing more aside from the sample contestant exam and tournament mode. And the behind the scenes videos are in Jeopardy 2nd Edition from the PlayStation are here and stuff, and you know, the same as this stuff. Final thoughts? Wheel of Fortune 2nd Edition gets a 6 out of 10. And yeah. Now, let's go and take a look at Wheel of Fortune PlayStation 2 version, released on November 11th, 2003, right after I turned 15 years old. About about 3 weeks after I turned 15 years old, and it was released 2 weeks after the release of Jeopardy on the PlayStation 2. And yeah, I apologize for the case of a little beat up here. Somebody's sound made me kind of a little messed up there. But yeah, Wheel of Fortune on PlayStation 2 is a little better in the graphics department with smoother controls. But that is all the improvements it has here. It does not really justify the price. Once again, same song and dance. Nothing new. Same modes. Same gameplay style. Nothing new added here, just like Jeopardy. Except once again, like the PlayStation 2 version, no behind the scene videos as like in Jeopardy, and we have the same modes like last time. Releasing this game 3 times now with nothing new once again feels like the game show cash cow that Jeopardy was when it was released 3 times in a row. And yes, I bought all 3 of them. I was a sucker, so sue me. But you know, I didn't know any better. I was a kid at the time. But yeah, let us continue. Once again, same gameplay premise, just solve the puzzles like Hangman. Tournament mode is locked once again, but even then, not even worth it. Several contested mode is here once again and still pointless. Once again, for the 3rd game, no Pat Sajak. We have 3 Wheel of Fortune games and no Pat Sajak. Did they have trouble finding him to record lines? Was he not interested? I do not know. Also, once again, no creative character options, still can't see the opponents. Just like in Jeopardy, why do they do this? I do not know. Graphics look a little better, but they were better looking games on the PlayStation 2. Even though I praised Jeopardy's graphics, there were better looking games on the PlayStation 2. Sound is all copy and paste except for Vanna, who recorded new lines here. Once again, computer AI is overly smart at times, which I expected, but you know, sometimes they can be overly dumb as well. And it can make the puzzles a little too easy. I'm sorry if I was rambling here, everybody, but this game gave me nothing much to offer. It was just like the PlayStation 2 version of Jeopardy, same games with better graphics and smoother controls. That's all I gotta say here. And, the final thoughts here for the rating, I give Wheel of Fortune here a 6 out of 10. And now that we took care of the games here, it's time now to go to our TTBurger pros and cons chart for all 3 Wheel of Fortune games. We can do a rundown about what makes all 3 of these games good and what makes them bad. For the TTBurger pros for the Wheel of Fortune games, seeing Vanna White in the game is cool. Games can have some fun factor to them and a little more so than Jeopardy. Multiplayer can be fun definitely with 2 other people and stuff, and it can be enjoyable. The sound effects from the show are present here, not as frustrating as the Jeopardy games, and the behind the scenes videos are cool and interesting. For the TTBurger cons, like Jeopardy, they all play the same with not much changes to them. There's no path to Sajak in any of the games. Tournament mode like in Jeopardy is locked unless you win 5 games. Sample contestant mode is a waste of time. You cannot create a character or see the contestants at all. And opponent AI can be very tough guessing all the letters correctly, while at times they can be stupid as well. And that's all I gotta say for the Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune games I meant to say. And that's all I gotta say for the Wheel of Fortune games here. Stay tuned for part 3 of episode 2 of H7. We're gonna take a look at Who Wants to Be a Millionaire games by the hosted by the late Regis Philbin. 2 games for this next part. How do these games fare than Wheel of Fortune? Final next, because all I gotta say is Tony, peacing out, have a good day and keep the games coming, and stay tuned with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Take care, everybody.
Sometimes I don't